Hello, my name is Trilby, this is Gio, and today we're going to be moving through a foundational Pilates series targeting the core and lower body. We'll all come down onto our mats. You can have your feet facing me, putting a bend in the knees and then melting the spine down all the way to the ground. And I'm going to come up onto my forearms. This is a version you can take at home if you like. For Gio, I'm going to encourage you to reach your arms back behind you. You can lower your head all the way down. Okay. And then interlace the fingers around your head, like so, opening the elbows wide, and then just create a little cradle for your skull. So feel the heels get heavy into the earth and just notice the natural curvature of your spine. You might feel a whisper of space under there or not, but just observe and let the spine feel natural. And then from here, take an exhale and begin to cradle and curl your skull, lifting up just to enough where you feel the lower abdominals start to light up, and then take it all the way down. So exhale can guide you up. That's going to make sure you're feeling nice and safe in your core. And then inhale to lower yourself down. Beautiful. Keep curling like that, keeping the elbows nice and wide. And you can think of opening up the collarbones as you're lifting. So less of a crunch and more of a lift of your chest. Really, really nice. And take 2 more of those curls, peeling the shoulder blades up and down. And then the next one we'll lift and hold in a curl. So feel those abdominals light up, the lower abs engaging, and then heel toe the feet to touch, squeezing your inner thighs together. From here, as you lower down, you'll open your knees and make a diamond shape with your legs. And then as you exhale and curl, you'll bring the legs back to touch. So we'll take a couple like this, feeling the inner thighs a little, opening up those hip flexors at the bottom, and then squeezing, gathering at the top. And just check in on the ribs. Sometimes they want to pop and flare out here. Think about closing them and knitting them in towards your spine. Couple more like this. If you want to take it up a notch, as you curl, you're welcome to bring those legs and float them up to tabletop. Totally optional. And then reverse out of the shape, opening up and lowering at the bottom. Let's take 3 more like that. Scooping, exhale, driving up that curl. Beautiful. And you can start to feel the low back melt into the ground as you lift those toes off the ground if you're taking that version. So nice. And then we'll take 1 more, rounding the upper back, softening the brow. Really, really beautiful. And then melt everything down and let that go. So you can take the hands out from behind your head and just take them off to the sides. Palms can face up to a comfortable position. And then we'll gather the knees back in. Heel toe the feet a little bit wider, about hip distance apart. And you can begin to press into your heels and peel the hips all the way up into what we call a glute bridge. So to the point where your ribs are still anchored on the ground and you're feeling your glutes squeeze and light up here. And then we'll fold at the hip crease, lower and tap the glutes gently to the ground, and then lift and press back up. So a couple more like this, nice and simple, hinging and folding at the hips, beautiful, and then squeezing and lifting at the top. So you're still thinking about that abdominal engagement as you lower, as you rise. Feel the shoulder blades melting equally into the earth here. So all of the effort is contained in that lower body. Let's do 2 more like that, lifting all the way up, melting all the way down, making sure you're breathing, exhaling to lift. Nice. All the way down. And then the next one you lift, you'll hold at the top and pause, and then lift off of your heels. So like you're putting on little stilettos, pressing into the soles. Yeah. And take some little pulses up and down, just like 1 inch up and down. Beautiful. So you're going to create a lot of heat, a lot of spice in those cheeks. Don't worry, we won't be here for too long. 8 more counts here. Last 6 for 4, 3, 2, and then melt everything down. You can pull your knees into chest, fan out those glutes, rock it out. And then I'll have you roll onto your right side, Gio, just so the audience can see us. Hands gonna come underneath your head, or if it feels more comfortable, you can rest it on your bicep. And then stacking the knees, feel the ankles line up with your sit bones. And you can take that top hand just for a little bit of support here. And pressing the bottom thigh into the earth, we'll take that top leg and start to draw some big hip circles. So you'll notice that bottom leg wants to peel off. Think about painting it into the ground so it's just that top leg that's stirring. And we'll take one more all the way around, brushing the inner thigh. We're just mobilizing the hip here. It should feel kind of nice. And then 4 going the other way. You might notice each circle gets a little bit bigger. Couple more here. Just bring a little bit of heat into that hip. Last one all the way around. And then we'll take that leg and then lift it up to about hip height and then slowly lower down. So lifting up and lowering down. So once you kind of found the lower body, let's start to check in on the upper body here. So I always find my ribs tend to flare here, so I like to have a hand sometimes to encourage myself to knit them in so we're not splaying the ribs in this shape. And then feeling that navel to spine connection, keeping that bottom thigh pressed nice and heavy into the ground, and then noticing the shoulders, if they're creeping up to the ears, let them soften, keeping the chest nice and wide, perhaps exhaling as you lift, inhaling to lower. We'll take 2 more like that, gliding through space, and then holding at the top. Find a little piece here. You can point your toe and then tap the knee to your knee, and then we'll tap the toe to your other toe. So a similar kind of hydrating, mobilizing expression. Really, really nice, beautiful. And it can start out a little slower, a little smaller, and then you can start to increase that range of motion as you warm up that hip crease. You can feel that top glute really lighting up at this point. It's pretty sneaky. Yeah. We'll take 2 more, dipping, tapping those toes really softly. Last one, dip and tap, and then lower the knee. You can give a little tap out. And then we'll do it all on the other side. So you can prop yourself up and just swivel on your hips, and then taking yourself to second side. So just as we started on first side, support your head in a way that feels nice, stacking those knees, lining up the ankles, feeling the abdominals holdy before we do anything, and then taking that top leg and start to draw those circles. Doesn't matter which way you go to start. Feel the inner thighs brush, opening up that hip joint. So starting with a bit of tenderness before we infuse that spice into that glute. And then you can reverse and circle the other way, keeping the breath nice and fluid. And every time you exhale, you can think about engaging the core, pulling that navel to spine. Let's take one more circle all the way around. And then we'll lift that leg up to hip height and then lower down. So finding a couple here, and let the lift be as effortful as the descent. So it's almost like you're moving through something kind of sticky or viscous. Maybe they'll check in on the ribs, notice what's going on there, the face, the jaw. Just keeping the upper body soft and held. Couple more lifts and lowers. If you want to challenge yourself, you can always hover that thigh as you lower, so you never actually make contact. That's going to just create a little bit more effort, a little bit more sensation. And we'll do 2 more here. You'll feel that side waist starting to light up as well. One more time. Let's hold at the top, and then we've got that little knee dip. So tapping the knees, turning the leg in, and then tapping the toes and turning out wide. Beautiful. So finding that internal and external rotation. And here's where we really start to feel the spice in that top cheek. So just notice if you're still breathing in a way that is soothing and grounding and nourishing. Really, really nice. Keeping that bottom thigh heavy, planted into the earth. Let's do 4 more at your own pace. Beautiful. Just 2 more. Nice. And last one. Melt that knee down. Give a little tap. And that's it. How do you feel?
Good.
Great.
Yeah, open.
Thank you so much for joining us for this little core sequence. Hopefully you're feeling nice and held and strong in your body. And we'll see you very soon.